Hello, and welcome to the Johnson Career Services Workshop on Job Search Strategies. Our office, JCS, is here to help ECS majors prepare to find an internship. In addition to this workshop, we also offer workshops on technical resumes, interview preparation, and virtual intern fair preparation. Our office has 3 student contacts, and you are assigned to an internship coordinator based on the first letter of your last name. Here on the screen are our names and contact information, but later in the presentation, I will show you where to find this information on our department's website. Here is our agenda for today. First, we're going to discuss social media, networking, and application tips, and then we're going to review the resources on our website, including resumes, cover letters, interviewing skills, and other internship search-related resources provided by UTD. So, how do you best optimize your LinkedIn profile? Let's talk about what you should include in each section to increase your chances of getting noticed by a company. And we'll start with your photo and headline. Your profile photo should be of high quality, should use good lighting, and should be in front of a neutral background. You want your photo to be of just you, no family, friends, kids, or pets in the photo with you. Your photo does not have to be a professional headshot. Usually, the camera on your smartphone is more than high enough quality to take a good photo for your profile. LinkedIn does provide users with the option to create a custom URL for their profiles. A custom URL will make it easier to share your profile or to include a link on your resume. So if you do choose to customize your URL, stick with something professional and simple like first name, last name, or first initial, last name. Ensure that your location and headline are updated and accurate. Your headline on your LinkedIn profile is the short one line of text that appears just below your name and photo. Be sure to include keywords that describe your current role, your student status, your interests, and/or your technical skills. You can think of your About section on your profile as your elevator pitch. Briefly explain who you are, what you do, and why your work matters. Your About section should be concise. It should speak to your motivations, key skills, and experiences. It should include keywords that are relevant to your industry and should showcase your accomplishments and your aspirations. We recommend that you use at least 40 words here. You don't want your summary to be too brief as it won't convey enough information about you. You want to showcase your unique skills. What do you do really well? Be sure to write this section in first person narrative, so using I statements. If you have any relevant media, such as photos, videos, presentations, links to your work, anything of that nature, these can be great to include in your About section. If you do choose to include media, ensure that it is professional before you add it to your profile. The next sections on your LinkedIn profile are your work experience and projects. Your work experience and project sections should not sound exactly like what's on your resume. You want to expand what's on your resume, but don't just duplicate it. Make sure you describe not only what you do, but why it matters as well. It is a good idea to ask your classmates, professors, or mentors for feedback on your profile sections. Again, if you have any rich media that's relevant to these sections, it's a good idea to include it. This can be a website where you've uploaded a project, a PowerPoint presentation, or even a video that you've made. Be careful about sharing any company information that you aren't supposed to or any intellectual property that does not belong to you. If you do plan to post any work that you performed as part of a job or an internship, remember to check with the company before you post it. LinkedIn allows you to include a list of skills and recommendations on your profile. It's a good idea to add a range of technical and soft skills here, and we recommend that you add at least 5, but you can add up to 50 maximum. The more endorsements that you have on your profile, the more credible that you will be. On LinkedIn, only your first degree connections can endorse your skills, so we recommend that you connect with classmates, mentors, coworkers, or anyone else who has knowledge of your skills. Make sure to update this section often to reflect any new skills that you've learned recently. When sending a recommendation request message to your connections, rather than using the default message that LinkedIn provides, we recommend that you personalize this request to help the other person know what to focus on in their recommendation. So you might want to mention a specific project that you worked on when you were working in that position or when you worked together on that project, whatever the case may be. And you might want to say something like, can you please write me a recommendation that speaks to my ability to solve problems and use skills X, Y, and Z. A few general tips when it comes to using LinkedIn. Remember to complete all the sections on your profile, especially your contact information. A blank field means that you aren't as easily searchable. Your profile summary is likely to show up in a Google search of your name, so keep this in mind when you're writing it and make sure it's professional. We recommend that you join LinkedIn groups and post original content. Find as many ways as you can to contribute to the conversation about your industry on LinkedIn. Don't just build your profile and leave it there. Comment on other posts and repost articles about things that are relevant to you. Remember to check your account often and message new connections as often as possible. Using LinkedIn is a great way to network with people in your industry. Personalizing your connection invitation or clicking add a note increases the likelihood of that person accepting your invitation. We recommend that you join UTD's alumni group even while you're still a student so that you can connect with ECS alumni. You can find alumni on LinkedIn by going to UTD's profile page, clicking alumni on the left-hand side of the screen, and then searching by keyword search. You can try searching by major, job title, company name, really anything that's relevant to your industry to see a list of alumni who are currently doing the type of work that you want to do in the future, whether it's the same major that you're majoring in now or if it's the job title that you're hoping to do in the future. You can do a similar thing on Handshake, where if you go to a company's profile on Handshake, you can see a list of your classmates who have previously worked at that company. Another networking strategy is to see if you have any second or third connections at your desired companies and ask your mutual connections if they're willing to introduce you. You can also reach out to the current or former employees of a particular company for insights into the role, the team, the interviewers, or the interviewing process. Some recruiters and hiring managers are okay with potential applicants adding them on LinkedIn. If this is the case, you can use this as your chance to get information about the role or about the hiring process. But of course, never harass anyone. If someone isn't responding, it's better to find someone else to message rather than sending multiple follow up messages. By now, you're probably already familiar with Handshake, where UTD students can view and apply for jobs and internships. In order to create an effective Handshake profile, remember to include an objective. Remember, this is a coherent story of your career interests. Be sure to include plenty of keywords here to describe yourself and your skills. Remember to upload your resume and update it regularly. Complete your entire profile and add references as possible. And we also recommend that you set up a job search agent so that you receive an email notification every time a new job is posted. To do this, you'll just search for jobs using your desired criteria and then select Save this search. A few tips for applying online. Remember to complete every field in the application, even if that information is already on your resume. The contact information that you include should match what's on your resume, and of course, it should be accurate. A typo in your phone number or your email address could potentially cost you an opportunity. Leaving the salary information or desired salary range question empty on your online application could cause you to be screened out of the candidate pool. If possible, enter not applicable for salary history or negotiable if they're asking about desired salary. However, if the application does require you to enter a number, be truthful here. If you are able to upload documents, we always recommend that you upload a copy of your resume, your cover letter, and your references, even if not specifically required by the application. Alrighty. Be mindful of online privacy and be wary of job search scams. Never share your date of birth, your driver's license number, or your social security number until after you've been hired. If a job posting promises high pay for little work or simple tasks with infrequent hours, it is probably a scam. If a job sounds like it is too good to be true, it usually is. The salary survey on our website provides the average wages for each degree and major. Be wary of any company that promises to pay you significantly more for the same amount of work. No legitimate company will ever ask you to pay to apply for a job or charge you money before you can get started working. So remember, never share your bank details until after you've been hired. Basic rules of cybersecurity also apply to job applications. Typically, you're only going to hear from a company regarding a job opening if you've already submitted an application. If you're not expecting to be contacted by a company, or if you're contacted by a company you weren't familiar with, think twice before responding and don't click on any links sent by someone you don't know. Verify the identity of the person you're in contact with by checking the sender's email address, visiting the company's website, and Googling the company name. Remember, the domain of the email should match the name of the company. So, for example, asmith@facebook.com is probably legitimate, while facebookrecruiting@gmail.com definitely is not. Legitimate companies will be easily searchable on Google. So, if after Googling the company you still can't discern what they do or what services they offer, it's probably not a valid job posting. Okay, next we're going to go over some of the resources on our department's website. Okay, transitioning to our web browser here, we are just at the utdallas.edu homepage, and the easiest way to find our department's website is just to search for JCS. You'll click on this first result to go to our homepage. On the right-hand side of the screen here, you will see our office location and office hours, followed by the names and contact information for all three of our internship coordinators. If you're interested in scheduling an appointment with your internship coordinator, all you need to do is click on our name to send us an email. As I mentioned, we do offer other workshops throughout the semester, so if you're interested in attending any of our other workshops, you can find the schedule for that here. As we scroll down on the page, the salary survey that I mentioned earlier in the presentation can be found here under the general information section. But we will start with resumes now. Under this resume, networking, and library resources section, this first result will take you to our resume tips and samples packet. As I mentioned earlier, we do offer a standalone technical resume workshop, so I recommend attending this if you're interested in more detailed information about resume formatting and content. Okay, a resume is a document portraying your skills, education, accomplishments, and work history. This document is designed to present your credentials to an employer and get you an interview with that organization. When writing your resume, it's important to keep it clean and easy to read by using a simple format. In general, all formatting choices that you make on your resume should be consistent throughout your document. What that means is if you choose to use one font face for your name, make sure to use the same font face for the entire document. If you choose to put your timelines all on the right-hand side of the page, put all of your timelines on the right-hand side of the page. Ideally, your resume should be just one page in length, and you want to divide the information on your resume into different sections. And remember to leave enough space in between each section so that it's easy to visually distinguish where one section ends and when the next section begins. And we'll talk about each section here with this example. Your contact information should be the first section on your resume, and this should include your name, the city and state where you're located, your phone number, and your email address. Next, your education section should include the name and location of the university, your major and degree, and your expected graduation date. You can also include your GPA here if you would like to do so. Remember that within each section on your resume, you should always list things in reverse chronological order. This means the most current or most recent thing up at the top and then going backwards in time. So in the education section, UTD should be the first thing listed. If you are a graduate student, you'll want to mention your undergraduate degree right below that. If you're a freshman here at UT Dallas, you can include your high school information right below UTD, but otherwise, after your freshman year, you should start to remove high school from your resume. Next, technical skills are one of the most important sections on your resume. In this section, you want to list technical skills and organize them into whatever subsections make the most sense for your major. Remember that everything on your resume is fair game for employers to ask you about in interviews, so be ready to potentially answer an interview question about any of the skills that you list here. Next, you should include your academic and personal projects. These can be assignments or projects from your classes, things that you've worked on with student organizations, or just technical projects that you completed outside of class in your own time. Be sure to give each project a name, state what class it was completed for, or if it was a personal project, you'll just state personal project instead. You want to also include a timeline of when you completed that project and a brief description of what that project was, which technical skills you used to complete it, and any results that you found. The next section is your work experience. Here, you want to include the company name and location, your job title, the timeline of when you worked there, as well as a brief description of your responsibilities and accomplishments. You should include any work experience that you have, even if it's not necessarily related to your major. Employers know that you are a student and don't expect you to have a ton of relevant work experience just yet. So, any work experience that you have can still be a valuable addition to your resume, even if it's not necessarily related to ECS. Finally, your extracurricular activities, certifications, awards, scholarships, honors, and volunteerism can all be listed under the activities section. Here, you don't need to go into detail about each activity that you did. You only need to list the name of the organization, your role, and the timeline of when you were a member, or when you received that award, or when you volunteered, whatever the case may be. We recommend that you update your resume at least once per semester to include your most current GPA, as well as any new projects, skills, work experiences, or activities that you might have. Next, we're going to look at cover letters, and you can find our cover letter guide right below the link to our resume tips and samples packet. A cover letter is a one-page document in business letter format. Your cover letter should describe your skills and the contributions you would make to the company if you were hired. Your cover letter should be customized to every single application that you submit. Take the time to really evaluate the job description of the position that you're applying for and relate your own qualifications to what's required for this role. Don't forget to mention your technical skills and projects, but don't just restate what's on your resume. Remember to use courteous language throughout your cover letter, and in your last paragraph, you want to thank the reader for their time and consideration. We recommend that you write and submit a cover letter for every single application that you submit, even if it's not specifically required on the application. Next, let's talk about business attire, and you can find our professional business attire guide also in this same section. It is important to wear professional business attire for interviews, internship fairs, and professional networking events. For men, professional business attire does mean a suit and a tie or a blazer with dress slacks. For women, this can mean a suit, a dress with a jacket, or a blazer with a skirt. You do also want to make sure that you are neat and well groomed, shower before you go to the event, limit your cologne or perfume use, and ensure that your hair is clean and neatly styled. Below the Professional Business Attire Guide, you're going to see a few links to job search related resources provided by the UTD Library. You can click this link to visit the library's page on job and company resources for ECS students. As you'll see on this page, the UT Dallas Library does give all students access to Nexus Uni. If you're not already familiar, Nexus Uni is a company database where you can search for companies based on industry and location. It also provides details about the company like their size, location, contact information, and relevant recent news articles. If a company is listed on this database, it does not necessarily mean that they're currently hiring, but this is a good way to find companies related to the type of work that you might like to do in the future. You can find detailed information on using Nexus Uni at this next link here. The first step in using Nexus Uni is to identify the census code for the type of industry that you would like to work in. So the steps for that are on the left there. Once you've found the appropriate census code, you will use that code to search for companies within your industry, and you'll find the steps for that on the right-hand side there. UTD does also provide all students with a free LinkedIn Learning account, which the link for that is right here. LinkedIn Learning provides online courses in a wide variety of topics, including technical skills and job search strategies that may be helpful to you. Finally, let's discuss interviewing. For more detailed information on interviews, please make plans to attend one of our interview preparation workshops. In any interview or intern fair that you attend, you can expect that the first question you'll get is tell me about yourself. Let's open our elevator pitch guide here. An elevator pitch is the 15 to 20-second introduction that you will give as the answer to tell me about yourself. In this introduction, you want to explain who you are as a professional, where you've been, and where you want to go in the future. The basic structure of an elevator pitch, you'll start with a summary label, so maybe I'm a freshman majoring in computer science. Next, you'll talk about your educational background and your work history. You also want to mention your current position or any recent projects that you might have, including major roles or accomplishments. And you'll finish by describing where you're going in your career. So, what do you hope to do in the future? What does the big picture look like for you? Remember that you want your elevator pitch to be more generic than specific. Speak generally about yourself and wait until later to discuss specific details, as you don't want to overwhelm the other person with too much information too quickly. Going back to our interviewing section here, let's talk about how to prepare for an interview. Always dress professionally, be well groomed, and well rested. If you have a virtual interview or a phone interview, you want to prepare for that in exactly the same way as you would as if the interview were in person. Arrive early and behave courteously, or if it's virtual, be prepared and be on the call ahead of time. But prepare by practicing your answers to common interview questions. You can find a list of commonly asked interview questions here. Behavioral questions are open ended questions that show the interviewer how you think, act, and respond to situations. Employers believe that past behavior is an indicator of future behavior, so you want to develop your answers to common interview questions based on relevant examples from your past school or work experiences. We do have two strategies that we recommend for answering behavioral interview questions. The first method that we have is called the STAR method, or STAR. In this method, you want to describe the situation you were in or the task that you were trying to complete, so the S and the T, situation or task. Then you'll want to describe the action that you took to address the issue or solve the problem, so the A is action. And then finally, you want to describe the R, the results of your actions. The next method is called experience plus learn equals grow. For this method, you want to outline an experience that shows that you can do what they're asking you to do based on the job description for this role. Then you'll talk about what you learned from that experience. How did it make you smarter? How did it make you better at your job? Finally, you'll explain how you grew and how you'll use that experience to your advantage going forward. In any interview, you should also be prepared to answer technical questions. Remember that anything on your resume is fair game for an interview question, so it's a good idea to refresh yourself on any technical skills or projects that you might have that might need refreshing on. At the end of the interview, you will likely have the opportunity to ask some questions of the interviewer. Not asking any questions could be perceived by the company as a lack of interest, so it's a good idea to go to the interview with a few questions already in mind that you want to ask. You can ask about anything that you want to know, but a few sample questions might be: what are the next steps in the interview process? Is there a career path for an intern within this company? Or what does a typical day look like for this role? After the interview, you should always send a thank you note to the interviewers for their time and consideration. A handwritten note is a nice touch, but an email will also suffice. In the interviewing section of our website, you will find things like a list of the commonly asked questions that I just showed you, our elevator pitch guide, mastering common interview questions guide, and a couple other resources as well. Okay, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this job search strategies workshop. Again, if you have any questions or would like more specific information on your internship or job search, please do not hesitate to contact your internship coordinator, and you can find our contact information on the right-hand side of the screen here. Thank you and have a good day.